Morning, gorgeous. It's great to see you. Lovely to be out here. Yay! It's such a mild day. It does not feel like midwinter at all. Let me show it to you. There it is. The wind is coming from about there. And it's very mild. It's really pretty warm. I feel like a fraud having all these clothes on. It's a bit of a habit, really. Good morning, Holly. Good morning, Andrea. Good morning, Mike. It's great to see you. Here under the cherry tree, which is clearly dropping its leaves. Let me show you the colours, because you can't see them. You know, the camera's eye isn't as smart as yours is. So there it is, and it's almost better when there's fewer leaves because you can really see what's there. And look at this, the colours on the ground. It's just beautiful. It notifies you right away. How excellent! Some web server somewhere just got it right. G'day, Laura. And look, I've got to show you some details now. Look at this. You know, I mean, really, it's gorgeous. And look at the tiger stripes on this one. And the goldy browny magic on this one. I love these autumn leaves, and not forgetting that they look the way they do because of the wonderful greenery in between them. Good morning, Abigail. It's great to see you. Look at all this. This is just, you know, the best part of early winter in the garden is what happens on the lawn. I just love these colours. So, that means I get to share them with you. Look, there's more. There's so much to enjoy, you know. And that used to be the rose bed, but I have moved the roses and I'm delighted about it. This is going to end up being lawn because it's too shady for anything to grow well. This rose is going to new home this weekend, so it's very exciting. There is change happening in the garden and in my life everywhere. Look at the rose hips. They're starting to get colour on them, which is always nice. That's why I leave them on. And it also stops the plants from growing and then being... Everything that I've planted is just growing, which is great. Transplanted rose. This is the white one. Some of them gone to new homes because I knew I couldn't fit them all in here. And this is something that somebody gave me. And I've broken lots of bits off it and planted them. And it's got this fabulous salmon pink flower, which you can't really see because it's just cuttings and things. But it's going to be an absolute feast of colour. That's better. You can see that one. Although the camera is not showing the colour well because there's too much contrast. That's a bit better. So it's a really pretty pelargonium that dates from the 50s. It's called Lotus Lake. And there you can see it. Oh, you really can't see it. There it is. So, yeah, that's what's happening here. It is pretty. Okay, let me turn this around. Oh, right. Yes, your time of year, Andrea, it's totally jungle time. And my only advice to anybody with a garden, morning Robin, is whatever you do, don't let the weeds run to seed. Let them grow, that's fine. They're easy to pull out when they're bigger, but don't let them run to seed. Then you won't have more next year. We'll have fewer next year. Right, that is the gardening lesson. Over. What am I doing? Oh, okay, must have needed to do this. Right, so today my topic comes out of a conversation I've been having with one of you. Something I put on my pain points file and just came back to last night because I thought, okay, I'll do this now. And it's really this question of, you know, I feel like I'm faking it till I make it and it feels like bullshit and it's not true and I just have to keep going at it until I really feel it and all of that. And that is very close to the challenge that we have, because I couldn't quite figure out how to frame that in something that was practical and useful, you know. Because really, you just have to keep going. You have to keep overcoming the bits and pieces in you and the chemistry and the thoughts and everything else to say, nah, you're never going to feel like that and it's not real and all that, blah, blah. That's, you know, that's that. But the piece that sits next to it is what puts us into that state. And what put me into that space for so long, oh my God, with the whole problem that when you start to focus on your goals, your desires, your dreams, everything inside you just goes into lack. It's like, who are you kidding? get real. This is impossible. It's not going to happen. And, depending on who you are, you either feel angry and frustrated and just piss off, which actually used to happen to me too, or you just end up feeling really sad and really lackful and just forget it. And I want to talk about that because I know that a lot of people who are on this manifestation journey, the process of quantum creation, law of attraction, rah, whatever you want to call it, face this problem. And it is automatic for us to think small, right? Less than. You're quite right, Laura. But the challenge is when you say, well, I don't want to do that, and you end up in this massive tug of war inside your mind, and it used to just throw me more and more and more into lack. It was just, forget it. I can't do this. It doesn't work. It feels completely contrived and not true, and I'm just, I'm more angry and upset now than I was when I started because it's just so fucking impossible. Just forget it, I couldn't do it. I couldn't get my head and heart across the gap between what I was really feeling, what my body was chemically and neurologically accustomed to doing, body and brain, and where I wanted to be. The gap was too wide. So it was effectively like I want to go from zero to hero. I can barely walk, but suddenly I want to run and leap a building in, a single leap. And you just can't convince your mind. It is utterly exhausting, Laura. Oh my God. I remember this. And I understand now that all these people are saying, just fake it till you make it and be it and think it and feel it and everything. And I've said that and I believe that and I do that. But this is when you fall into the yawning great gap between where you are and where you want to be. This is the piece I sometimes forget to say, including me. Because you end up in this fight with your brain and your body, and the brain and the body is 95% of you, and the conscious mind is 5%. You, the conscious mind, 5%, are having this argument with the other 95% of yourself, and it's bloody hard to win. Good morning, Andrew! So what do you do, right? And that was the thing, and I didn't understand because I didn't have Joe Dispenza to explain to me how come it is that the bit of me that's thinking and wanting to make a different choice and have a different experience is only 5% of me, and the rest of me that's going, yeah, right, is 95% of me and is very entrenched and doesn't want to change, and I need to understand it enough to know how to change it. Because for me, you're right, Laura, but for me to say, mind, now hear this, you're going to change, is just like, they go, you and what army? It just laughs at me. It just tells me to piss off, because the neural net in there that is accustomed to being lackful, and I'm speaking in past tense now, was way stronger and more enriched than the new neural net that I'm just starting to build about being abundant, and I didn't know how to do it. And taking one step at a time, this is really what I want to talk about. Jen, good morning, honey. So what I've learned to do, and I still have to do this, what I understand now is that, from moment to moment, my thoughts are doing their routine, normal thing. For me, it's often being fearful, and I don't even notice it until I do. I've become much more aware. Sometimes judgmental, sometimes resentful, whatever it is. They're sitting there like this low-level rumble murmur, and I don't even notice them until I do. And when I start to notice one of those habitual thoughts and I catch it, and I catch it enough to observe it and think, oh, gee, I've been thinking like that for the last 40 years. Oh, shit, I've been programming my body this way for the last 40 years. It's such a comfy chair. You're so right, Laura. But here's the thing. If I've been sitting in that comfy chair for so long that I'm practically glued to it, the first thing I really have to do is see if I can get myself unstuck, never mind stand up and walk away. And meanwhile, my brain's saying, but I want to be on the other side of the room or in a different house. So how do I do that? How do I take the first step when it's so incredibly difficult to see even beyond the armchair? Because it's just so much who you are. It's your identity. You're buried in it. How do you do that? And what I understand now is that I have to find something, and it can be very, very small. I have to find something small that I can actually put my mind and my emotion into and agree about. So that my mind and my body are not fighting. My mind, the 5% that's conscious, it's me, is saying, come on, let's do this. And my body's saying, you're right. We got to get out of that situation. I have to get mind and body in agreement. So what can I get myself in agreement with? Now, to stick with the analogy of being stuck to the chair, maybe because, the body's saying, but I'm really comfortable here. I've got everything just so, it's all very comfortable. And your brain is saying, but I'm stuck here and I don't want to be stuck here anymore. Because remember, we can be very, very comfortable being uncomfortable. We can be very, very happy being unhappy. Oh my God, I watch people do this. I'm so much more aware these days. I see people indulging their addictions. It's incredible. We can be extremely happy being unhappy. So, if you want to break yourself out of an addiction like that, then it might be that the only thing that you can get agreement with in your mind and your body at a particular time is, okay, so I am firmly glued with super glue to this sofa, this chair, whatever. Can I tilt myself to the left and see if I can peel my right butt cheek off the chair? That might be, speaking with an analogy here, as much as you can actually feel that you can do. But if you can feel aligned and positive, and by positive I mean, yes, I can do this, I can actually believe this, I can get myself, mind and body and soul, into this thing. And, leaning to the left and peeling your right butt cheek off might be the same as saying, okay, every time I notice that I'm feeling depressed for the umpteenth time, a minute later, it's, oh my God, I feel like dying again. All you might be able to do is bring to mind a little smiley face emoticon and say, I'm just going to bring that into my mind. And maybe when I put it into my mind, I'm going to put it into my heart and I'm going to imagine that smiley emoticon, yellow happy face laughing. I'm not going to feel it, but I'm just going to imagine it. That might be all you can do. It might be something really small, but you have to get agreement from your body and your mind together to say, okay, we're going to do this. And so, that might be the equivalent of leaning to the left and peeling one butt cheek off the chair. And when you get good at, and it doesn't take very long, by the way, it actually doesn't take very long. Once you make up your mind to do it, that's the part that can take a long time. Once you make up your mind to fire and wire a new neural net, you make connections every time you do it. Every time you think, oh, got it. Hang on a minute. I'm feeling awful. Okay, what was that thing? Oh, okay. I was going to imagine a yellow, smiley emoticon face. And then I'm going to put it in my heart and I'm going to imagine it laughing, chuckling, giggling, whatever it is. Okay, I've done that. Fine. And the next time... And the next time that you notice yourself feeling like shit, you do it again. Now you've done it twice. You've made some connections in your brain and you've strengthened them. You do it a third time, you fire it again, you strengthen them. By the time you've done it 10 or 20 or 30 or however many times you need to, you might start to think, hey, that's really cute. I like doing this. This kind of feels nice. I wonder if I could have... Next time I notice I'm feeling like crap, maybe I could put a funny hat on that face. And maybe I could put it in my heart, but I can imagine it's got little hands, the gloved hands, and it's doing a little dance, and maybe I'll let my body wiggle with the dance. Just sitting in your chair in the office very quietly, so nobody can notice. It's all in your imagination. You're not even moving, but you're just imagining your body wiggling as this thing dances and laughs inside you. Carrie Ann, good night, honey. It's just little steps. But what's happening when you're doing that? Think about it. What's happening inside your brain when you bring that thing up and then you build on it because you get better at it. You build more connections, you enrich that neural net. And remember, every time you think a thought, you get a chemical. If you keep thinking those thoughts about the smiley, happy face and the laughing and the dancing and the hands waving at you, and maybe there's two of them another time, or it does have a funny hat on, or you dress it up, it doesn't matter what you do, you are making a stronger, more enriched neural net in your brain, and you're going to get different chemistry, and eventually you're going to feel different. And this is how you go from being flat on the ground, wanting to die, to eventually leaping over tall buildings in a single leap. That is how you do it. You've got to put some new architecture in your brain, and you've got to practice having different feelings. I hate to say that it's as simple as that. It is as simple as that. I didn't say it was easy. And of course, you know perfectly well that I like to go into a very deep, slow brain state to do this, because it just works a hell of a lot better. Because all the chatter of the analytical mind and all the default mode networks that go off and isn't there. And that's such a relief. I can't tell you what a relief it is to shut that lot up. I mean, it's not as bad as it used to be. You know, there's research to show that if you can slow your brain down, overcome yourself in the morning, you quiet those default mode networks by doing what I've learned to do, they stay shut down for the rest of the day. They do. By and large, they do. I mean, if something triggers them off, fine, I've got to overcome myself again. But what a thought to get up, spend some time on you, the most valuable person in your entire life, you, yes, you, so that you can have a quieter brain for the rest of the day. And yeah, if you get busy rolling from the left to the right in the comfy chair and you unstick your butt cheeks and then you start to wriggle and you lean forward and then your back's not so stuck anymore, and one day you just stand up and you don't even notice because you're so busy running this different thing in your experience that you haven't even noticed that you've become the happy, smiling emoticon person and you're feeling happier more of the time. This is how we do it, step by step by step. It's a massive thing. It's just a fact. If you master yourself in the morning, it is easier during the day. My only, the thing that I always say is, for goodness sake, go and learn how Dr. Joe Dispenza teaches it. Because even if you decide you want to do your own thing, what you learn from him will make what you do work better. Because he's done the science and he's done the research about how this thing actually works and how to make it function so you can change your life. He doesn't really give a wet slap about what you do. He's just interested in people transforming themselves, and so am I. So get the information, get empowered. I have to do this too. I have to be willing to get outside of my own box and invite new information in and decide if I think it works. Try it out instead of saying, well, I know everything. Because it's very easy for me to do that. Say, oh, no, I don't want that. No, I like what I know. But what I know has got me where I am. If I want to go somewhere else, I've got to get new information. And I can assess it and decide if I like it. But if I don't do that, I've got no new possibilities. It's new information, new neural connections that open up new possibilities for us to think, oh, that's really interesting. You mean that means I could blah, blah, blah. Yes. That's why I love science so much, when it's illuminating and empowering and it demystifies the mystical and it helps me change myself. That's why I'm so excited about this, why I rave about it. So, to recap, if focusing on your big goals in life throws you into lack, throws you into forget it, no, and you just end up feeling crappier when you look at your vision board. When you think about, you want to be healed and you're trying to imagine it and back off, make it smaller, and go for the feeling. Go for the feeling. See, I wasn't, the analogy of feeling depressed all the time. It wasn't about, this in my life has to change. I imagine the new house. I imagine the love of the job, the whatever it is I desire. Here's a happy face, smiling at me, and it's laughing. Okay, that's the thing. It becomes a symbol. It becomes something you can wrap things around, and every time you bring that thing back to yourself, it grows. You make a neural net, and it gets enriched every time you practice it, and every time you overcome yourself enough to bring something different into your mind. It is a massive investment in you, much more than you know. And every time you go back over the same thing and invest your energy and your attention more into what you're creating, you're exactly guiding yourself out of the jungle. So yeah, it's so empowering to get new information and try it out. Be the scientist in your life. Experiment with it. See what happens. It's very, very cool. I'm so passionate about this. It's like, get more information. That's why I keep reading, books from people that I sort of look in. I'm starting to look in the references at the back end of books that I read and like, and think, well, who else can I read? And I'm really selective, because I don't want to read somebody that's just, all full of intellectual sort of grey ivory tower thinking. I want somebody who's going to excite me, both in the person that they are and how they communicate in their writing and the information. So I'm really picky about it. But I also really crave the information because it's exciting and it opens up possibilities, and I can explain things, So yeah, new information, and make sure it's solid. Make sure it's repeatable. Try it out in your life and see if it works for you. So that's my rave today. It is Tuesday. I will be back in 3.5 hours to update you on what our beautiful Sang Marie Gomez is doing in the Gambia. It's exciting times for him. Very much love. I look forward to seeing you then or tomorrow. Bye-bye.